I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
But lately, I'm getting the feeling that I came in at the end. The best is over.
The end to Tony Soprano came abruptly, with many viewers perplexed, angry, and desiring more. The death, too, of James Gandolfini was sudden, hitting fans in far more emotional spots than his most famous character. He was likened to a bear in both his ferocity and gentle demeanor, recognized equally as one of television's greatest talents and a warm friend. We remember James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini was born on September 18, 1961. The only Jersey boy, he had two sisters, to parents of Italian heritage. His father's roots in Borgo Val di Toro, just 2 hours outside of the region's capital, Bologna. Like many of Italian descent, Gandolfini's roots would prove foundational and define many of his traits both personally and professionally. Gandolfini grew up in an unassuming blue-collar home and went to high school in North Jersey. It was here he developed not just an appreciation for basketball and the ladies. He was voted class flirt. I mean, come on, look at those dimples. But acting, taking on roles in high school productions of dark comedy Arsenic and Old Lace and Cole Porter musical Can Can. After studying at home state Rutgers University, where he would eventually be inducted into the Hall of Distinguished Alumni, Gandolfini bopped around New York as a bartender, bouncer, bookseller, and more. It was in Manhattan that his passion for acting was reignited, studying the Meisner technique at the Gately Pool Conservatory. He was inspired not just by gangster fare like Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets, but heavy dramas like Ordinary People and classic musicals like West Side Story. In 1992, after some minor film turns, as well as select plays and resume-padding student films, Gandolfini landed a role in a Broadway revival of A Streetcar Named Desire, working alongside Alec Baldwin and Jessica Lange. In 1993, he was cast as vicious thug Virgil in Tony Scott's True Romance. Gandolfini's screen time is short but critical, showing up to intimidate and pummel Patricia Arquette's Alabama. In 5 minutes, he stops the movie in its tracks, encapsulating a level of brutality and natural force that elevates not only his co-star, but the movie as a whole. It is a breakout, show-stopping performance, one that would be one of his most heralded and perhaps most causal to his greatest success later that decade. Gandolfini would continue to get small and supporting roles for big-name directors, Mr. Wonderful for Anthony Minghella, Angie for Martha Coolidge, Crimson Tide for Tony Scott again, Get Shorty for Barry Sonnenfeld, which put him in a cast that jointly earned a Screen Actors Guild nomination, Night Falls on Manhattan for Sidney Lumet, and a civil action for Steve Zalian, not to mention turns in movies such as 8mm, She's So Lovely, and Terminal Velocity. Some of these appearances would try to pigeonhole Gandolfini as a character actor, playing the towering heavy, but he would continue to adapt and prove himself as much of an actor as a type.
This wall that has become the focus of so much tension.
In between these roles, Gandolfini returned to Broadway for a production of On the Waterfront, with the actor canned for being mouthy before the play even opened. His theater background would tie in directly to on-screen work when he secured the role of Juror Number 6 in 1997's TV adaptation of Reginald Rose's 12 Angry Men, interestingly originally adapted by past collaborator Sidney Lumet in 1957. More supporting roles came, but the show that would turn his entire career and propel the television industry into a new era arrived in 1999. Gestating since the mid-90s, The Sopranos almost saw the likes of Ray Liotta, Anthony LaPaglia, or Steven Van Zandt as the lead. But it was his performance in True Romance, as well as his stage credentials, that ultimately landed Gandolfini the role of family family man Tony Soprano, a character true to his Jersey roots.
Because the writers see stuff and they put it in, and it makes life easier for you. You know, he's not going to have me, I don't know what, sing or something, you know what I mean? There's certain things that are in my nature, and I think he'll write certain things like that. But he also stretches all the characters.
This despite a shaky audition in which Gandolfini stormed out after calling his performance shit. HBO's The Sopranos would quickly reveal itself as one of the most important television shows in history, with patriarch Tony being a chief reason for its success.
Look, lawyer up. Come in one-on-one, it's your call. Just name a time at your convenience.
On your way out, do you think you could roll the garbages down the hill? Tomorrow's pickup day.
It helped usher in the golden age of television and welcomed the emergence of the complex and conflicted anti-hero, plenty evil yet somehow charming, almost irresistible to the viewer. TV Guide posited that without Tony, there's no Vic Mackey of The Shield, no Al Swearingen of Deadwood, no Don Draper of Mad Men. We can add to that list Walter White of Breaking Bad, Nucky Thompson of Boardwalk Empire, and Frank Underwood of House of Cards, with certainly many more to come about.
Oh, son of a bitch!
What?
Did I just tell you not to say that again?
It's gotta be right. It's gotta be honest. No matter if it's the 18th hour of the day and you've been working all week like that, it's gotta be right.
Tony Soprano is at times a volatile beast, triggered easily and often without warning. Gandolfini's methods, too, could veer towards the extreme, and it wasn't unheard of for him to act out violence on himself, pull all-nighters to get into the character's mindset, or damage furniture on the set.
You saying there's something wrong with me?
When's the last time you had a prostate exam?
Hey, I don't even let anybody wag their finger in my face.
There were bouts with drugs and alcohol, but creator David Chase also framed it as such. Quote, "They were just simple emotions, straight and pure." Gandolfini was aware of the link between himself and Soprano, noting he shared some of the barbarism and stubbornness of his mafioso, waste management counterpart, saying, quote, "I think some of his flaws are my flaws," unquote. These flaws, however, weren't all self-inflicted. The effects would occasionally bleed unto others. At points, Gandolfini would simply not show up on set, halting production until he stepped onto the soundstage, whether that day or not. Gandolfini would always repent in the form of gifts. Personal sushi chefs and masseurs, the most cited and lavish examples. But Gandolfini's generosity also extended past just apologies. Gandolfini's salary would eventually top out at $1 million per episode. HBO labeled him, quote, greedy, but he clearly knew his worth. So too did his castmates, and his negotiations would help them also get much-deserved raises. Early on, Gandolfini also negotiated that he would get a percentage of the DVD sales, but his co-stars neglected to consider the show's home video potential. When Gandolfini found this out, he gave more than a dozen cast members $33,000 for the earnings as a gesture of gratitude and solidarity. He, too, would sometimes host Friday night dinners, not unlike a close-knit family. Edie Falco, who played wife Carmela, acknowledged him as, quote, a man of tremendous depth and sensitivity, with a kindness and generosity beyond words, unquote. He has also been likened to a teddy bear and a panda bear, sentiments frequently shared by friends and collaborators. No wonder that bear was lurking in season 5. Over the course of the show's run, Gandolfini was nominated for the Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series Emmy for each of the show's 6 seasons, winning 3.
James Gandolfini, The Sopranos!
During his tenure on The Sopranos, Gandolfini continued his Hollywood career. While there were straight dramas, Gandolfini also occasionally challenged viewers' expectations, playing a gay hitman in 2001's The Mexican, appearing in family holiday movie Surviving Christmas, and demonstrating his musical chops in John Turturro's Romance and Cigarettes. In 2007, after 86 episodes and 21 Emmys, The Sopranos ended, whether with or without the death of Tony Soprano amid a basket of onion rings. Right after, Gandolfini co-founded Attaboy Films, which would permit him to continue a relationship with HBO. One project was to find him playing Ernest Hemingway, although this was put on hold and later made as Hemingway and Gellhorn. For that, with Clive Owen playing the legendary writer, Gandolfini would receive his final Emmy nomination for producing. His first behind-the-camera nod came a few years earlier on one of the passion projects that he had ties to his own family, his father having been a World War II veteran and Purple Heart recipient. That documentary was Alive Day Memories, Home from Iraq, which put a spotlight on Iraq War vets suffering from physical and mental injuries and tolls. 3 years later, Gandolfini expanded the concepts in War Torn, 1861 to 2010, which analyzed post-traumatic stress disorder throughout American military history. As he ventured outside of the world of Satrial's pork store, Gandolfini reflected, quote, "I'm getting a little older, you know? The running and the jumping and killing, it's a little past me," unquote. Gandolfini remained steadily busy in the film industry, spending the last portion of his career experimenting and reuniting. He would pair with Tony Scott one last time before the director's 2012 suicide in the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, as well as reconnect with the Sopranos creator David Chase in his directorial debut, Never Fade Away. He also ventured into the fantasy genre, playing the irritable but lovable Wild Thing, Carol, in Spike Jonze's Wild Rumpus adaptation of Where the Wild Things Are. One of his last roles, in Killing Them Softly, appropriately enough paired him with Brad Pitt, who Gandolfini shared a memorable scene with in his breakout movie True Romance. He also returned to the stage one last time in God of Carnage, alongside Jeff Daniels, Marcia Gay Harden, and Hope Davis. The play earned 6 Tony nominations, including one for Gandolfini. It would be his only nomination for his stage work. In the days leading up to being honored at the Taormina Film Festival in Sicily, Gandolfini and his son, Michael, vacationed in Rome, spending genuine quality time during the lapse from work. It was Michael who Gandolfini credited with any form of developed calmness and rationality, bringing him back to ground level when his characters wouldn't permit it. On June 19, 2013, Gandolfini had a family dinner and visited the Vatican. It had been described as a, quote, wonderful day, unquote. That night, Michael found his father in the hotel bathroom, dead from a heart attack. James Gandolfini was 51. Gandolfini had wrapped production on 2 films. The first, and most praised, it remains his best reviewed movie, was Enough Said, with the actor giving a performance that critics marked as, quote, mold-breaking and wonderfully charming, unquote, with a noteworthy charm and gravitas. For it, Gandolfini received posthumous nominations at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the Independent Spirit Awards, and Critics' Choice Awards. Following his death, HBO reps remembered Gandolfini as, quote, a gentle and loving person who treated everyone, no matter their title or position, with equal respect, unquote. His on-screen daughter, Jamie Lynn Sigler, called him, quote, one of the greatest men, unquote, while Michael Imperioli called working with him, quote, a pleasure and a privilege. David Chase fondly stated of what he called his, quote, soulmate. There is something immensely lovable about him and something immensely interesting, unquote. His hometown felt the same way, renaming the street he grew up on James Gandolfini Way. And it was the James Gandolfini Way that solidified his reputation and importance in the industry. Intense yet sensitive, powerful yet collaborative, Without his talents and personality, the scope of the television drama would have been greatly stunted. His legacy, as large as it is, extends simultaneously through art and family. In 2021, a feature-length prequel to The Sopranos, called The Many Saints of Newark, will be released. Gandolfini's son, Michael, will play Tony Soprano. Thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel, tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. We're an independent company and we appreciate all of your support.